Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is the Scorpions' third album in Trance, released September 17th, 1975, so it's 50 years old today. So this album's one of the early kind of groundbreaking albums in the development of hard rock and heavy metal, along with Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, Rainbow Rising. You know, it comes in that era, Lights Out UFO. It's a real step up from the Flight of the Rainbow album in that it kind of dispenses with the kind of psychedelic elements, the krautrock elements a bit more, and it brings to the fore Uli John Roth's stellar guitar playing. There's kind of still that kind of battle in the band, I suppose, between the Uli influence and the Uli kind of writing sound and the writing of Rudolf Schenker. Klaus Meine. Sometimes Rudy sings a couple of tracks. The length of this album's like 37 minutes, so it's really in keeping with those, Scorpions albums where they're able to deliver, 10 tracks in under 40 minutes. I remember the first time I heard this album, I think it was a neighbour brought it over, and when Dark Lady came on, I just couldn't believe the guitar playing. It was just like so in the face, that opening whammies he does, and crazy. It was my first experience of the Scorpions other than Love Drive and Animal Magnetism. So the personnel on this, they're starting to get the beginning of the classic lineup now. You've got Klaus Meine, Ulrich Roth, Rudy Schenker and Francis Buchholz. So I think it's Francis's first album. Perhaps he's on Flight of the Rainbow. I think he is actually. Sorry, you got Rudy Lenners on drums as well, who makes this album and Virgin Killer, a couple of classic albums, and then decides to quit due to not liking the touring. Great album cover as well. It's got that kind of, obviously the sexy female on the guitar, but it's not dodgy like the original Virgin Killer and so on. That's actually Uli John Roth's white Strat on the cover. If you actually look, he's got them feasibly oversized whammy bars. So typically Strat whammy bars would break, so guitarists would get reinforced ones made that are really big. Blackmore's got one if you watch footage of Blackmore. These guys gave him serious abuse, more abuse than Hendrix even, I think. And this is in the era before locking tremors. Okay, so the album opens with Dark Lady, all-time classic Scorpions track. It's got that rolling riff. Rudy's doing a harmonised dive bomb. He does the main vocal, and then Klaus does the crying lion. And Klaus does that big wail on the chorus, and seems to forget how up there and out there Klaus got at this time, Really good. Incredible guitar solo, as I mentioned before, just proper gnarly. A great opening track, a real statement, really. Kind of to mirror Speed Is Coming, I suppose. But things don't let up, they get in Trance, and a live classic. Obviously, this is on Tokyo Tapes as well. Rudy and Klaus write this, and you can hear the formation of their writing style here. Rudy starts with a nice kind of, I think it's probably D minor, nice pick part. You've got the Trance, that simple sort of power chord riff that Rudy does, but it's just you can build a melody on it. Really good lyrics by Klaus. Then you've got that great harmonised trills by Uli on the solo. So I wonder, does he put a third track in there? And there's really big high bends, no one apart was doing that apart from Brian May, really unique sound. And that really wide vibrato. And then you just got that epic it just sounds properly epic. Really good. Then you've got Life's Like a River. This is Roth, Schenker and Karina Fortman. I don't know who she is. I think she contributed to lyrics. Who knows? I think this may have some keys in. There's quite good use of keyboards on the mellower tracks on this album just to fill out the pads. And the production of Dieter Dierks is good. It's sonically enjoyable. This is another great track. It's got that harmonised bit coming in again, more trills. Again, sort of slightly spiritual lyrics. Life's like a river in the morning. Life's like a sea without end. I really like the lyrics they do at this time of Scorpions. They're a little bit sort of open to interpretation, very different from Tease Me, Please Me, and Dynamite. Again, now you got Top of the Bill. This is another great opener with a great sort of Rudy kind of, again, simple power chord riff with that kind of percussive thing he likes to do. Great octaves from Uli. He goes absolutely fucking mental on the solo with the whammy. Uli Roth does this interesting thing. It's like the Hendrix thing where he kind of gets his explosive feedback. I don't know what effect he's on, if he kind of pressed on like a distortion or overdrive, but somehow he just kind of overcooks the whole signal, and then he just goes into dive bombs and everything's kind of feeding back, you know. And there's something about when you catch the open G string on those old Strat trems, and it's just properly, you know, it's great. Really good fade out on that, and then side one finishes with Living and Dying. So this is another sort of mellower, heavy track in the style of In Trance or top Life's Like a River. Again, really good. Living and Dying, you know. Klaus again, really good harmonies, good keyboards on this. An excellent side one. I mean, 5, obviously, Dark Lady, In Trance and Top of the Bill, 3 classics, and then 2 great album tracks in Life's Like a River and Living and Dying. Side 2 of the album does tail off later on. It's not as good, but it opens with Robot Man, which has always been a fun, goofy track with cool guitar. Robot Man, I suppose it's kind of got a bit of a kind of almost a glam rock sort of element to it. There's a fun element to this. I really like it. Kind of like the Speedy's Coming vibe. It's great. If you listen out carefully at the end of the fade out of this, right at the end, there's just some explosive madness from Uli, just a snippet where he goes, wow, or something. Really good. Then you've got Evening Wind. This is Uli Roth written track. Again, I really like this. It's got that kind of tempo that Living and Dying, Life's Like a River's got. Epic soloing from Uli. And then it starts to tail off a bit next, but I do quite like Sun in My Hand. It's just a kind of bluesy rocker. Uli sings it in his usual flat style. What kind of saves this track is the fantastic harmonised guitar solo from Uli, and it's a real showstopper when he does this live on his own with his band. You know, really good. So that's what's worth for guitar nuts. It's brilliant. Longing for Fire is really good. 2 minutes 44 is Schenker Roth. Quite catchy, sort of majory vibe. Kind of reminds me of Hey You. That, you know, later on they did that B-side Hey You. It's got that element. You've got Uli's great break on this, and you can really hear the width on his vibrato. So I really like this track. The last track, Night Lights, it feels like an afterthought. I mean, it's just a little instrumental, Uli Roth, but it kind of doesn't really go anywhere. It's got some pleasant enough playing. Maybe they should have just left it off or put on there a cover of Action by the Sweet that they do under a false name. I don't know. So that would probably, you know, knock this album down. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's difficult to pick between this album, Virgin Killer and Taken by Force. I think this has got some of the very best songs that are off here on it. I think Virgin Killer takes things up a notch. Although some of the songs aren't as good, it's kind of a big influence on like how hard rock and metal will go more so than this. And Taken by Force, it's quite consistent, maybe more consistent. And then you've got stuff like Sales of Quran and We'll Burn the Sky, which are really all-time great songs. So I couldn't really pick between them. But Rudy Leonard's drumming's good. It's interesting, you know, kind of forgotten about a bit in the early days of the Scorpions. But this is an important building block, this album. Not only for the Scorpions, you know, they went over to the UK with this and started to, you know, spread the word, but it, in the development of, you know, the beloved genre, as I call it, this is one of those albums. The tracks off this and the other two eventually end up on Tokyo Tapes, and that'll be the kind of gateway album for a lot of people. When people get into Scorpions, like Priest, they'll get Tokyo Tapes will get Unleashed in the East, and that's how they'll hear a selection of songs and then they'll go back and dive in a back catalogue or go forward. You know, these live albums kind of functions as best-ofs. Okay, so that's my review in Trance by the Scorpions. Check it out. Remember, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.